To be honest, I realized my life was going completely off the rails the moment my dog stole my only clean sneaker. And I ended up chasing him around the apartment with the kind of determination people usually reserve for running from the IRS. The irony? I bought a gym membership specifically so I could run more. And yet somehow, the only cardio I ever did was sprinting after Ricky. I'm Parker Jones, 32, an office worker at North Star Insurance in Denver. Lately, every decision I make can be summed up with one sentence. I'll do it tomorrow. Healthy eating? Tomorrow. Morning runs? Tomorrow. Laundry? Let's not even go there. I've been trying to lose weight for a year now. Got the gym membership, set my alarm for 6:30 a.m., even followed every fitness influencer the algorithm threw at me. A few times I even tapped like and save as if that alone burned 3 pounds. But reality was as plain as a cardboard box. Every morning I found an excuse not to go. It's raining. I need more sleep. Life is hard. And one morning I actually told myself, today the atmospheric humidity is dangerously high. Better not risk it. I didn't even know what that meant, but it sounded very convincing. And then I got a trainer. Or a terrorist. Actually, a dog. A small, overly energetic mutt named Ricky. No one really knows what he's mixed with, but I strongly suspect pure caffeine. That morning, it all started innocently enough. I woke up to a strange rustling sound and saw Ricky standing in the doorway of my bedroom with my sneaker in his mouth. He held it proudly, ears tilted to the sides, eyes sparkling with victory. "Don't you dare," I warned him in a low, threatening voice. Ricky winked. Or maybe I imagined it. And then he bolted. "Ricky!" I yelled, already tiptoeing after him and trying not to slam my knee into the corner of the bed. What followed in the apartment was a chase worthy of a low-budget comedy. I leaped over a pile of magazines, snagged my foot on a blanket, slipped on my own socks, while Ricky triumphantly ran victory laps around the couch. Eventually, he hid under the table. I crouched down, out of breath, carefully reached out my hand. And that's when Ricky decided life was a marathon. He slipped out, clipped a water glass with his paw, knocked it over, sprinted through the puddle, and left wet paw prints all across the kitchen. I braced my hands on my knees, wheezing. "Why is this my life?" I whispered. In response, the dog jumped onto the couch and casually licked the sneaker, as if to say, "Yep, training session complete, your daily step count is done." The next few days turned into some bizarre athletic marathon I definitely never signed up for. Ricky started carrying my things to the most unexpected places. My sock ended up in the bathroom, my keys under the couch, my wallet, for some reason, on the shoe rack, the TV remote under a pillow, my tie in the kitchen inside the salad bowl. I squatted, bent over, jumped over boxes, crawled across the floor, climbed onto stools. I was moving more than I had in the entire past year. And the worst part was, I actually got used to the chaos. I even kind of looked forward to it. Because as strange as it sounds, when I came home and saw a tail sticking awkwardly out from behind the couch, I knew one thing. My life finally had someone to compete with. And maybe, just maybe, that was exactly what I'd been missing all along. I first realized the scale of the catastrophe, the training program I never signed up for, one morning when I woke up without my blanket. Cold woke me up. The kind of cold that made me think winter had wandered into my apartment overnight and decided to stay for a weekend. I opened my eyes and saw Ricky standing in the doorway, my blanket clenched in his teeth. He was pulling it with an expression that said, "Get up, weakling, we're not done here." "Ricky, no," I croaked, not even trying to move. My dog tightened his grip. The blanket slid across the floor, and I slid along with it because I was wrapped inside it. A second later, I was lying on the cold wooden boards, face planted into a pillow, while Ricky stood in front of me, the undefeated champion. "I'm gonna be late for work, you know that," I said, pushing myself up on my elbows. From the hallway, someone slammed a door, then my neighbor's voice rang out. "Parker, watching that same show again?" "It's not a show, it's my life," the neighbor just snorted. After that, the blanket became a weapon of psychological warfare. Every morning, no exceptions, not a single day without a dawn blanket heist. All of this went on for 2 weeks, until one day I noticed something strange. I was coming home from work, exhausted, hungry, my brain slogging through the thought, why do I work around people who talk about Excel like it's the meaning of life? I opened the door and noticed that Ricky wasn't running toward me with another trophy in his mouth. It was quiet, suspiciously quiet. "Ricky," I called. Silence. I walked into the living room, not a single shoe scattered. No socks, no empty dog treat bags. The apartment looked like I was living there alone. Creepy. "Ricky," I repeated, my voice tighter this time. And then I heard it, a dull rustling, like someone was digging around in the closet. I crept over and opened the door and saw the most unexpected thing in the world. Ricky, standing on top of my sweaters, rummaging through my gym bag. Yes, that gym bag, the one I hadn't touched in a year. He pulled out my forgotten headband, a water bottle, and a t-shirt that said, "No pain, no pizza." "Are you kidding me, right?" I whispered, watching him drag my workout gear across the floor, as if to say, "Remember this? This used to be your life." And then, thwack! Something fell on my head from the top shelf. I picked it up and saw my old gym membership card. A static pause. Me and Ricky, 2 pairs of eyes locked. "Don't look at me like that," I said. "We're not going anywhere. Forget it." He tilted his head the way he always does when he's trying to manipulate me. And honestly, for the first time, I felt ashamed. Not for myself in front of him, but for the fact that I had once actually wanted to change and then quietly gave up. I had blamed it all on being busy, the weather, the atmosphere. I looked at the card again. "Don't think this is gonna work," I muttered. Ricky let out a soft bark, and that was the moment I realized I'm a grown man arguing with a dog and losing. The next morning brought something else. Something I definitely did not see coming. Neighbor kids blocked my way as I was leaving the building. "Hey, Mr. Parker," said little Ruby, "is it true your dog is training you?" "Training me?" I asked. "Yeah, he trains you," her brother Lucas confirmed. "Dad said you exercise every morning, and dogs make great trainers." I glanced down at Ricky, who was looking at me with that same "I told you so" expression. "Well," I said, "it's complicated." The kids laughed, and for the first time, I felt this weird, light warmth, like maybe all of this actually made sense. I thought the dog's provocations would stop there, but of course I had underestimated my little 4-legged Napoleon. After talking to the kids, I felt strangely inspired and simultaneously humiliated. I'm 32, I work in an office, I have insurance, a credit history, even a responsible position. And yet, deep down, I knew one thing. My dog thinks I'm a weakling. What's worse, he's right, and it seemed like he had decided to get more assertive. That evening, I decided to at least try to justify my so-called fitness journey and pulled a yoga mat out of the closet. Yep, I had a yoga mat, bought it on sale, thinking, "All right, Parker, now you're a man who works on himself." But there it had sat in the closet, still rolled up, wrapped like a secret government document. I unrolled it in the middle of the living room, assumed a warrior pose, took a deep breath, and crunch! Not me, my phone. I had stepped on it. It had been hiding under the mat because, of course, Ricky had shoved it there. I picked up the phone, looked at the web of cracks, and muttered, "Nice of you to care about my digital detox." Ricky sat beside me, giving the look of a coach waiting for a client to stop whining and just start working. So I tried again, raised my arms, stretched my shoulders, filled my lungs, and felt someone gnawing on the drawstring of my sweatpants. "Ricky!" I growled, trying not to topple over. He leapt back, thrilled, and ran a victory lap around the mat. "Could you give me just 1 minute of focus?" I asked. In response, he jumped onto the mat and performed his own version of Downward Dog. Very funny. And that's how the evening went. My attempts at exercising and his attempts to make me move, somehow, even crookedly, but move nonetheless. A month passed so quickly after that, I couldn't even remember the last time I'd lain on the couch doing absolutely nothing. I was constantly chasing, picking up, searching, jumping over little obstacles, running because Ricky had stolen something important again. And then, at some point, I noticed the jeans I couldn't button a year ago now fit easily. My back stopped hurting. And, most surprisingly, I actually started looking forward to mornings. The real kind of morning energy, the one you feel when you wake up not just to survive the day, but to live it. Ricky looked at me with a pride I had only ever seen in before-after trainer photos. One evening, while I was taking Ricky out for a walk, the neighbor kid stopped me again. "Mr. Parker," Ruby shouted, "we saw you running after your dog. You're so fast." Lucas nodded. "If you keep this up, you could run a marathon." "A marathon?" I asked. "Kid, I brew coffee slower than I run anything." "But you're exercising," she insisted. I glanced at Ricky, at his tail wagging wildly against my leg. "You know," I said, "maybe I am exercising." And for the first time, I didn't feel ashamed. Instead, a weird little sense of pride. On the way back home, I looked at my dog. "So, who are you really?" I asked. "A genius personal trainer? Or just a little troublemaker?" Ricky lifted his head and licked my chin. "Yeah," I said. "Doesn't matter to you, huh? The important thing is that I'm moving, right?" He wagged his tail so hard it was like he was trying to flatten the sidewalk. And then I realized one thing. Sometimes the best push for change comes in the most unexpected way. Not from fitness blogs, not from motivational videos, not from expensive gym memberships, but from a tiny creature who simply loves you enough to drag your blanket at 7 in the morning to make you better. Or maybe just bold enough to play. Either way, it works.